أحاديث دموعي في ضمير الصادقين.
The Prophet says, فَإِنْ أَقْبَلَتْ فَتَنَفَّلُوا. When you have moments where you feel spiritual, take advantage of it. Do the extra deeds. Do the mustahabbat. وَإِنْ أَدْبَرَتْ, the Holy Prophet says, وَإِنْ أَدْبَرَتْ وَإِذَا أَدْبَرَتْ فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْفَرِيضَةِ. If you don't feel spiritual, if you're not in the mood, as we say, stick to the wajibat. But what do we typically do in our communities? Every Thursday, rain or shine, we recite Dua Kumail. Every day we might force ourselves to do spiritual things that we're not in the mood to do. What happens if you do this? You're going to develop an aversion towards ibadah. You know, a similar, an analogy that I can give you is that if you want to improve your physique, if you want to get in shape, and you have certain days where you're motivated, you go to the gym and you do 7 workouts, and that's fine. You feel good, you're motivated. If you're motivated, push yourself that extra mile. You know, do that extra rep. Push yourself. But on the days that you're tired, that you feel exhausted, and you're not motivated, what's going to happen if you push yourself that extra mile? You're going to pull a muscle, right? You're going to pull a muscle. That's what happens if you don't respect the limits of your body. The heart, according to the Prophet, has limits. It's like a child. You have to be very delicate with it. If you see a child, you know, if you have a young daughter and she puts on the hijab, you know, bring the prayer mat and do jama'ah prayer with them. But if you sense that the child is not in the mood, don't pressure the child, because otherwise it will begin to hate worship. We have to treat our hearts like they're little children. We have to be conscious of this. So the Prophet says that the heart also experiences iqbal. It yearns for God, and there are moments where it retreats. So we have to be conscious of this. Now, one of the ways that we deal with the heart, and notice that the Prophet says, when you're not in the mood, stick with the wajibat. Meaning that you never have an excuse to abandon the wajibat. You can't say, you know, today I'm not really in the mood, so I'm not going to pray today. That's not allowed. When you're not in the mood, do the bare minimum, which is the wajibat. You never have an excuse to abandon your obligations. You know that? If you want to look at it, if I want to use an example that's relatable, to be healthy, you have to have a minimum calorie intake. Otherwise, you're going to get sick. In spirituality, you have a minimal calorie intake, which is your wajibat. If you don't fulfill your wajibat, you're going to get spiritually sick. That's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum.
Hey,